Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I'm here with the R8 Spider V10 for the Prestige Cup. I'm going to go and run this cup, but also kind of discuss with you a little bit about the effects of individual stage 6s for the purpose of this cup. Just to let you know up front, we're going to look right at the top three, and those are engine, body, and nitrous. Actually kind of in that order too. Engine, surprisingly, is extremely strong for this car, and it's the top stage 6 as far as I can tell. Without fine-tuning, of course, body and engine may be a wash, but they come pretty close to each other, with nitrous closely after. So all three of these give about the same amount of drop of about 3/10 from your initial dyno of about 9.7. Unfortunately, from there on, the other four are really bad, and out of those four, intake surprisingly seems to be the stronger one. So if you got the top three, you should be fine, and if you don't have the top three, the other four may or may not help you make it. So we're going to put the top three in, do a few runs, and then we'll go back and take a look at the bottom four and see how it compares. Now, looking right here at race 16 is where I am, because quite frankly, things don't really get difficult until race 28. You should be able to make it, you know, with stage 5 only, pretty much up to race 28. And stage 5 only, again, like I said, it's a 9.7 dyno. As long as the opponents here are not running below 9.7, that means basically you're okay with stage 5 up to that point. Assuming you don't have other stage 6s, which it would be unusual unless you're pretty new, you should be good to get through this with this car with anything running probably in the 8s. I would assume that the final time would be somewhere in the high 8s to low 9s. With the strong stage 6s, the speed traps are also extremely easy. You should be able to do about 270s with those three stage 6s. So that's the strong three. We can actually break them down now back to stage 5, and then we'll run one stage 6 at a time for these final races to kind of get you a feel for how this car reacts to each stage 6. So we're going to go ahead and take the car back to stage 5 only first, just to kind of get a feel for it, and then go from there. Now, this car, obviously with the stage 6s, if you're running 8s and better, or I would say 8.5s and better with enough stage 6s, you probably can take it and easily deal with Harkness and Tempest 3, but it's not going to be good enough without stage 6s, nor is it a super strong car for much else. So building it for PC is obviously important, but you don't necessarily have to use it for Tempest if you're not ready otherwise. So 9.7s is about where it is with the dyno without stage 6. You can see 1582. We may be able to tweak a little more out of this. Here we go. Okay, so about here. Let's just leave it there. That's a pretty good one. And then tires to 0-100 pretty much for all the setups from stage 5 and up. So that's stage 5 only. Let's go ahead and do a race, and then we'll pop in each stage 6. That's 7 more races. That'll put us pretty close towards where we need to be near the end here. So race 17, stage 5 only. Opponent should be in the 10th or 12th or 13th. I'm not even worried about it. At this point in the race, it should be very easy. Fusions, you can strip Audi TTRS from the dealership if you're short on those. But Audi Fusions are pretty plentiful, and you should be fine with Fusions as long as you put some effort into acquiring them one way or the other. Now, I would save your bronze keys and for the American event, American road trip event, because that Ram TRX is going to require quite a bit of work to get the parts. So don't burn keys on this Prestige Cup. If you need Fusions, buy and strip TTRS, which is a tier 2 car from the dealership, and that'll get you plenty of Audi Fusions you'll need. Save those keys because you're going to need them. Alright, so again, I'm not actually hitting dyno. With less upgrades, the shift pattern is probably different. I may have to adjust when I use Nitrous as well, but we're getting about 9.8, which is, it's okay. It's about a 10th slower than dyno, but it's not killing us. Okay, so that is a quick 2 run with stage 5 only. And I'm at race, 19 coming up, and you're looking at opponent doing about 11. So it's catching up slowly but surely. You figure by race 20-something, you'll start to be seeing the car's hitting stuff like potentially hitting stuff like 10s, 9s, and at some point around race 25, 26, 27, it's probably going to get close to your stage 5 dyno. Usually what I see is about a 2/10 drop, but at some races it jumps. It's all very tricky with that kind of stuff. Okay, so the strongest stage 6 from my quick testing earlier is the engine, and the engine's a good stage 6 on this car because you gain quite a bit of Evo from just basically putting it in. 9.403 dropping from 9.7 is pretty decent. It's a 3/10 drop, so it's not super huge like some cars would get on one stage 6, but nonetheless it's a substantial drop, and certainly would be noticeable for coming into races where challenges are starting to get more difficult. So we're going to go ahead and do a race. Here we go. Okay, alright, this is a sprint. These sprints so far have been pretty easy. So I don't really expect anything to be difficult. The car sprint's okay. It's not a super good sprinter, but it's not terrible. Once you get more upgrades, it's pretty decent. Like I said, it's good enough for Tempest. Not necessarily what I would focus on for Tempest, but you know, it'll do the job. This is particularly for people that haven't gotten through Tempest 3 and you're looking for a car and you're relatively new. This is an option. And Audi Fusions, again, you can get them. So if you pulled a few stage 6s that are strong and you have the Fusions, well, you know, if the car is, again, it has to be in the 8s, I would say safely in the 8s, probably 8.5, 8.6 dyno for you to be able to safely take down Harkness. So 9.493, a little better run, but again, the opponents are still in the 11s at this point. Okay, so we're going to go and jump to the next stage 6, which is engine. So it'll be turbo. Turbo, unfortunately, you'll see won't be as good as engine. That's not really surprising. It's pretty common to see that, but let's go ahead and throw that in. So we'll throw turbo in. You can see this doesn't change much. This is the issue right there. If your Evo is not going up and jumping up at that, when you put a part in, it's not going to be a great part. I mean, that's just the reality of how this game works. Now, of course, tuning will make a difference. Okay, see, I tuned, I gained a bunch of Evo. But look at that, 9.676. Remember, we're starting off at 9.715. I'm still going to run 9.7s at best. So if not 9.8s, depending on my ship pattern. So this stage 6 really is very little, if any, help to your cause here of beating the Prestige Cup. But again, it's turbo. We expect that. It is what it is. So off we go. Take a quick race. I wish the loading was faster, but hey, it is what it is. Okay. Right, so I'm kind of going quick into second and then short into third and Nitrous. This may or may not be the optimal shift pattern. I'm not too worried about it as long as I get close enough to dyno to keep moving forward. Again, for Prestige Cup, I'm not too concerned with beating it because my car's maxed. So, you know, if you play with the shift pattern, you may be able to squeeze it out a little more to actual dyno or even possibly beating it, but getting at least close is going to be helpful. So 9.7 is still holding its own pretty well here. Looks like it won't be an issue to get through the next race or few actually at this rate. We're 8 races away from the end. So we're going to go back and put the next stage 6 in, and that's intake. So again, each one needs to be tuned. Remember that. These cars just slapping on parts without tuning it really doesn't do a whole lot for you. You definitely want to tune it to test the dyno 9.664, but I know intake should be better than that. Let's see if it is. Okay, there's a drop there, and see if we can move this around. I had really hoped it would be better than this. .66 somethings. Alright, so it looks like it's, I might have left another stage 6 on last time when I was testing it. I thought intake was the best out of the 4, but it looks like it's not. 9.66. Well, we'll take that and run with it. That's unfortunate. But then it's not really surprising. Turbo and intake, So turbo intake really isn't going to do much. Maybe the two of them combined will get you 9.5s, which still means unless you're shifting right, you're still going to be running 9.6s. So that's not going to be super helpful to you. Okay, let's move into the race and see what happens here. 221, I wouldn't say it's necessarily going to be a super challenge here, but it won't be easy for this car to just, oh, there it is. Okay, 238. All right, so intake did get us through that speed trap without too much of an issue. Okay, so I'm not going to waste the next run on just finding out it runs basically a tenth below dyno. I'm going to go ahead and move on. So intake, turbo, you know, less than a tenth drop. Very weak. We'll get rid of that. We'll put nitrous. Now nitrous is a pretty strong one. You'll see that in a minute. It's not as strong as engine, but it's up there. And again, a little bit of tuning and a little bit of adjustment, and we should be okay. This one you can probably get away with something like this. Ooh, 9.39. Okay, so it's actually stronger than engine. How about that? All right, 388. All right, not bad at all. So 9.3s with nitrous. So nitrous may actually be the top one. I was under the impression it's not, but then again, sometimes when you fine tune a little bit, you find out you're wrong. All right, so right now nitrous is top dog. Let's go ahead and run one. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Okay. Now you have pretty long duration and pretty strong nitrous to push the car through. Should be a 9.4 something based on what I've been running. Oh wow, 9.5. That's kind of worse than what I was expecting. On a 9.38 dyno, probably my shift pattern. With the longer duration nitrous and easier to access nitrous, I probably should have hit it a little earlier in second gear perhaps. Let's see if that's the issue. Let's try that real quick. But then we don't want to waste too many races on one stage 6. We still got a few more to get through. Oh, did the same pattern I did earlier. Okay. All right, let's just forget it. Let's just push us through this way. All right, I'm not going to waste more runs on this. 9.482, still not close to that 9.38. I'm about a tenth off. Again, play with the shift pattern. I haven't really focused too much on it with this car. Okay, so nitrous, strongest one so far. Next one should be a decent one too. That's body. The question is whether body's going to be better than engine, which is a 9.403. So we can get a 9.3 something out of body, then of course body is right there with nitrous. So let's take a look. Need to retune this. 9.411. Can we get some more? Oh, we can. Oh, 9.342. Yes. Oh. So notice there's a Evo drop point here from 9.3 to 9.5. Generally, when you have an Evo drop like that, it may mean that you're able to do the 9.4, 9.3 run on the 9.5 dyno. That could be useful in certain circumstances. I'm actually going to use that dyno and see if I can get a launch without 0 RPM drop and see what it does. Again, that's a very small drop. It's not significant, but it could make the difference between looking like you're hitting dyno versus, looking like you're 1/10 slower than dyno. And again, it may actually be that this car likes certain type of changes with the launch point and tuning, where it actually can run the 9.3 because you're not tuned for 9.3. So again, I tuned it to the fastest dyno just to see what I can see. Here, theoretically, I beat my dyno by 1/10 versus earlier I was actually 1/10 slower than dyno. So there's something there to play with, maybe on a tuning basis. But again, the car's not really low performance point high Evo. You're not going to get lobby advantage in live racing, so it's not really that much of a car that I would want to focus on for that purpose. But for Tempest, it should be fine. Okay, now those are the good ones. So it looks like body actually trumped Nitrous. So I guess back to normal. Body, Nitrous, engine. Okay, I really thought engine would be a top one, but looks like body, Nitrous, engine in that order. So it changes my order back to the standard order that I was expecting. Versus what I was thinking, that it would actually be engine for the top one. That's actually not the case this time. 9.698, as you can see, this is not a great stage 6. So tire, let's see if we can get some more out of it. Oh, 9.5. All right, that's something. That's something. So 9.544, I'll take that and run with it. So that's at least a 2/10 drop. So it's not, but compared to a 9.3, the tire's definitely on the weaker side. However, still worth a shot. It'll get you a 9.5. And then finally we have trans, which we'll see what that does. But right now, tires probably following Nitrous, body and engine at the moment. Okay, so we'll see how it goes with the tire. Again, we're in a 9.5 dyno and 9.5, 9.6 run. It's about normal. Yeah, so 9.6 run isn't very impressive. Again, we'll figure out if we can do better. But we're getting near the end here, so I need to kind of get that last stage 6 tested real quick, and then we'll slap on the 4 stage 6s and then see if we can make it to the end with them. If not, let's see if the 3 will definitely do it or not. Okay, so final stage 6 on an individual basis is the transmission. And then we're done testing this car on an individual stage 6 basis. So notice no tuning required. 9.54, slightly better than what we were able to get with tires. So trans is still a little better, but basically no tuning involved once you get it on. So 9.5, 9.5 for tire and trans, 9.6s for turbo intake, and then top 3 body, Nitrous, engine. Okay, pretty standard actually. That's pretty consistent with most tier 5 cars we deal with. Body coming in as the top ones normally expected. Sometimes I get surprised, but this time I thought I'd be surprised, but I'm not. Okay. Well, I was surprised because I didn't test it well the first time, and I thought engine was the top one. Okay, anyway. Moving right on along here. Let's get through this. Right, 9.5s. Dyno. Looks like it ran 9.5s. Yeah, actually it did pretty well. Okay, so race 28 is where you get your stage 6, right? Let's run that, and then we'll get a feel for where that stage 6 will put us. But we're going to go ahead and put the 4 weak ones in first, and then turn around and use the 3 strong ones if needed. If I can finish on the 4 weak ones, that's fine too. Okay, so let's see what the game gives us for stage 6. Generally speaking, I don't expect much. But maybe I'll get lucky and it gives me body. Who knows? Nope, transmission, which again, it's a mediocre stage 6. And we know that because we're running on it. So now, trans tire each drop about 2/10. And then the other 2 barely drop even a 1/10. So you figured combined we might be looking at a 9.2, 9.1. Let's see if it's enough to get through to the end. So put tire, turbo, intake. And that's 4 stage 6s. That's pretty decent amount of stage 6s we put in here. No tuning required. Wow. Okay. Okay. 9.289. And it's saying no tuning required. I'm surprised. Oh, no. A little bit help. See? Low tuning still helps. So sometimes ignore what the computer says because it's not always accurate. Alright, we'll roll with 9.281 and see if it'll get us through. It might. It's still a 5/10 drop from stage 5 only. But because this is a milestone card, I don't know how difficult they're going to make this. Mind you, when the map is full of events, the PC Cup tend to be a little, the Prestige Cup tend to be a little easier. Okay? But if it's an emptier map or the car's been around a long time, the developers tend to make things a little more difficult. So it really depends on their evaluation of whether we need a difficult Prestige Cup or we should be given kind of a gimme for the purpose of beating the Prestige Cup. So race 29 is 9.9. That's kind of a gimme because that you can do with stage 5 only. So this would be, if the next one they only dump it down to like 9.5, then this is a easy stage, easy Prestige Cup with probably one good stage 6 getting you right through. So final run, and what is it? What is it? What is it? Time wise, looks like I'm gonna destroy them. Yeah, this is straight up easy. All right, so as expected, it's a stage 5 only Prestige Cup. Because of all the stuff on the map, I'm not really surprised they made it easier. You know, the game maker's kind of hoping you spend more time on the other stuff. So, the other reason why it might be easy this season is because this is their, some kind of celebration season. Remember, we're getting a prestige. We're getting a milestone at 6 million or 8 million. That's super low. We're getting a Prestige Cup that doesn't require stage 6s. So I think this is just one of those, hey, you know, celebrate and give you some easy stuff for this season. I don't mind. I'll take any easy seasons I can get. So that's it. That is the Prestige Cup with no stage 6. Can be done. Full fusion, of course. And all the individual stage 6s, I kind of went through them for you in case you want to build this car for future purposes or you want to evaluate it later on when you're potentially using it for Tempest. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and it helped you with some information. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you like my channel, subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll give you notifications when I put up new videos. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.